Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views.
And here are today's headlines.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has started its investigation into anomalous flood control projects.
The Commission on Audit has opened a fraud investigation into flood control projects in Bulacan.
Tensions flare at the House of Representatives as lawmakers clash over supposed missing budget records from last year.
And Nadia Montenegro resigns amid marijuana use claims, allegations she denies.
The Commission on Audit has launched a fraud audit into flood control projects in Bulacan. The details from Rainiel Pawid.
Even if the sun is up, you'll never see village of Bulusan in Kalumpit, Bulacan flood-free. Since 2022, Bulusan has always easily flooded, even with minimal rain, and it takes longer for the water to subside. Now, it's getting to residents' nerves. Like Rodolfo, who has been living in Bulusan for years. And now, his home is constantly wet and rotting.
Naku, marami na ako itinapong gamit na yun naiwan ng matanda namin. Nabasa ng tubig Inisigaan ko na lang pagka pwede na magsiga.
Based on documents from Malacanang, there should be a completed flood control project in the area. But President Bongbong Marcos saw for himself that the project remains unfinished, short by 200 meters. And what has been built is already showing signs of damage. Its contractor is St. Timothy Construction, one of the top 15 contractors nationwide, bared by President Marcos last week. The company is linked to Curly and Sara Diskaya. Sara shot to national fame when she ran for office but lost to Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto in the recent midterm elections. Until now, they have yet to address the issue. The other firm linked to Diskayas that made it to Marcos's list is Alpha and Omega Construction. Another firm that's theirs, according to Mayor Soto, is St. Gerard Construction, which had already been blacklisted by the DPWH in 2020. The Commission on Audit is now looking into this project, which is part of the 548 billion pesos that's been allotted for flood control in the whole country for the past 3 years. 44 billion pesos of that went to Bulacan, the largest allotment for Central Luzon. But when asked if he was aware of the huge flood control projects in his province, this is all Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando has to say.
Hindi ko po alam yung mga project na ganyan dyan. Actually, sa kanila po yan. Tinulungan ko pa nga ang DP
COA Chairperson Gamalier Cordoba has ordered all supervising auditors and audit team leaders of the Department of Public Works and Highways district offices in Central Luzon to submit all relevant documents necessary for fraud audit. This is in line with President Marcos's bid to seek accountability for failed projects across the country. For One News, Rainiel Pawid, News 5.
Let's talk about the ongoing crackdown on alleged anomalous flood control projects in PDP Laban. Deputy Spokesperson Attorney Ferdinand Topacio. Thank you for joining us, Attorney.
Is in aid of legislation as amended.
Yes, good morning, and good morning to the millions of viewers and listeners of your program.
Well, thank you again, Attorney, for joining us. You had initially
My pleasure and honor.
Thank you. But you said initially in a press conference, Attorney, that all of this probe na nangyayari ay for show lang po. Can you elaborate?
Well, for one, we are amused that it is the President himself who is supervising or visiting the supposed sites of these anomalous flood control projects. That is not the job of the President. That is why he has an alter ego in the person of the Secretary of the DPWH. Number two, we are also mystified as to why, although the President gave a list of 15 contractors supposedly involved in anomalous projects, there is a singling out of only one, which is St. Timothy / Alpha Omega / St. Gerard. Whatever happened to the others, especially the others, wherein there are reports that there are links to not only sitting congressmen but House leaders of the House of Representatives. And number three, why is there no action as against the erring DPWH officials? Ang sabi ko nga po doon sa aming press con kahapon, it takes two to tango, and with respect to flood control, it takes more than two to tango. So, yan pong mga flood control projects na yan, as is the case for all other projects, yan po ay made under the specifications of the DPWH. Of course, there is a private contractor that implements the projects, but once the projects are reported to be completed, it is the DPWH that inspects and makes a report on whether or not it was completed in accordance with the standards set by the DPWH. Pero bakit walang sinisibak o minimension man lamang na opisyal ng DPWH?
Attorney, you mentioned that the President himself is, conducting the investigation. Dapat, sabi mo, DPWH Secretary. Ang problema, all of this happened under his watch for the longest time. Ngayon, are you in favor of the proposal of at least also Congressman Sandro Marcos na let's just have a third party investigate everything muna?
Yes, precisely. Because, for one, Congress, well, I'm sorry to say this, but the leadership of the House of Representatives not only does not have the credibility, but does not have the moral ascendancy to be conducting an investigation on these projects. Whitewash lang yan, sigurado, sapagkat ang reports, marami po sa kanila ang involved. Number two, pwede naman pong mag-imbestiga ang Pangulo, ngunit within the sphere of his influence, which is the executive branch. Sabi po nga namin, kung ganyan palang scope ng anomaly, ng skandalo dyan sa tinatawag nga po naming floodgate, bakit hindi suspend ang Secretary of Public Works and Highways? Because siya yung alter ego, siya yung pagdating sa ganyang field ng governance, ng executive, siya ang ultimately responsible. Number three, dapat po talaga magkaroon ng independent third party, a board of inquiry, ngunit bakit nireject ng Pangulo? Yung po na offer ni Mayor Benji Magalong na siya ang mag-head nitong Truth Commission, so to speak, na ito. Natatakot ba sila kay Mayor Benji Manalo because he is a person whose principles are not compromised because he will call it as he sees it? Katulad ng ginawa niya roon sa Sub-44 Board of Inquiry. So bakit ayaw nila si Mayor Magalong?
Well, you have raised several issues and points earlier, Attorney, and I was wondering, having said that, do you believe na by saying na parang selective yung mga contractors na DDN sa initial report ng Pangulo, ay he is not really sincere in this investigation of anomalous flood control projects?
Well, at first we were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, pero now we doubt the benefit. Dahil not only do we think he's not sincere in rejecting the offer of Mayor Magalong, ngunit by singling out certain contractors, parang nagkakaroon lang po ng smoke screen. Anong ginagawa po ng Pangulo natin parang AIDS, as if doing something. O yung tinatawag ng mga new generation na mema sabi lang. He's trying to put up the impression na siya ay on top of the situation when in fact, it is all full of sound and fury signifying nothing.
So, sino po ba sa tingin po ninyo, aside from the suggestion of Mayor Magalong, ay ang nakikita niyo po na will give us a credible probe into this flood control projects? Nakikita niyo po na third party na po pwedeng mag-investigate?
I would not hazard a guess po. But kung ihahalin tulad na lang natin to by analogy, kung natatandaan nyo po, but ang problema, both of you are too young to remember the Agrava Commission.
I remember that, kay Ninoy.
In the aftermath of the assassination of Ninoy Aquino, it was composed of men and women of demonstrated and unimpeachable probity and integrity. Mga retired justices po, nandyan si Justice Agrava, nandoon po si Justice, ang dami po mga retired justices doon. Ang pinopropose ko po, mga retired justices, yan si Mayor Magalong, he is a mayor, wala po siyang vested interest dyan, wala siyang connection sa mga contractors. In fact, siyang whistleblower dyan to chair it. Mga retired na mga justices, mga retired, probably a retired ombudsman or retired DOJ secretaries, basta yung mga retirado po na who are willing to dedicate the remaining days of their years sa service ng ating bansa. Yan po ang pinakamagandang i-create. We will leave it up to the sound discretion of the President kung talagang gusto niyang i-demonstrate sa taong bayan na siya ay sincero, that he wants to get to the bottom of this with utmost good faith.
Well, parehas kayo ni Mayor Magalong sa sinabi. He was also suggesting retired justices and PNP officials.
Pero with that, kasi maybe that would be a good idea. Kasi attorney, you know, what I've been talking to people and they were telling me na all of a sudden, naging part of the SONA yung pagbanggit ni Pangulo about the corruption in flood control projects. All of a sudden, all the local officials are coming out. Supposedly, they're concerned and they're angry. Well, you know, I wasn't also born yesterday, and I know this has been happening for the longest time. And all of a sudden, they are all concerned. So, palang, how deep do you think this is, attorney? How deep does this go? Safe to say that it's only retired justices that could credibly investigate this?
Opo, this has been going on, to be fair, to the Marcos administration. This is not a phenomenon endemic or unique to the present administration. This has been going on for some time. At ngalalim po ito. At kung in the case of Mayor Magalong, matagal na po, in fairness also to him, matagal na niyan dinedenounce ito. Kaya lang he used to be a voice in the wilderness. Walang nakikinig sa kanya until eto nga, dumating na yung dalawang magkasunod na bagyo at tayong lahat ay nag-swimming dito sa Metro Manila and the neighboring provinces, at buti naman ay kahit papano ay napapunta sa pansin ito ng Pangulo, which is a good sign. It shows that he's listening to the people, to the clamor and complaints of the people. Ngunit, at tama po kayo, all of a sudden, bakit ngayon lang nagreklamo yung mga local officials? Bakit ngayon lang nagpabibo itong ating mga congressmen? When all along, ang bulong-bulungan, hindi ko sinasabing totoo o hindi, ay involved ang mga congressmen, involved ang mga local government officials, at involved yung mga district officials all the way to the top echelon of the DPWH. So kailangan po talaga magkaroon ng sinatawag na independent commission para yung mga bulong-bulungan, mga chismis-chismis dyan, ma-validate natin whether they are true or not. And once and for all, institute measures to avoid this kind of problem in the future. Hindi lang po sa flood control, kundi sa lahat po ng infrastructure. Talamak po talaga yung ganyang kalakaran according to silent whispers that are now becoming louder and louder.
That's what I wanted to ask you, attorney. Kasi initially we're just talking about the flood control projects and ang laking amount na pinag-uusapan dito. And since we're there na rin, that commission should just look into everything all together. Kasi nakakatakot po, attorney, sa baha, nakita natin ang epekto of haphazard planning. Ano pa kayang bridges? Ano pa kayang public structures na that can be a danger to our mga kababayan if malaman natin hindi pala pure cement ang linagay, mali ang pagkagawa.
Tama po, pero sa ngayon ang amin pong stand dito ay mag-focus po tayo sa flood control because that is what is immediately needed ngayon pong monsoon season. Number 2, pagka nakita po natin ang formula dito sa flood control, ang tingin ko po, yan na rin po ang formula na ginagamit na kalakaran doon sa ibang infra project. So, when we crack this tough nut, that is the flood control scandal, palagay ko, madali nang i-crack yung ibang mga infra, yung mga bridges, yung mga buildings, mga kalye, pati yung mga sinasabi ni Mayor Magalong na cat's eye, mga rock netting, mga refrapping, palagay ko po, almost the same formula po yan na sinusunod. So, once we crack this, domino effect na po yan. That is why it is really imperative for the President to show strong leadership by immediately, ito, gagamitin ko na naman yung favorite word ng mga legislators natin, to forthwith create by executive fiat an independent commission headed by Mayor Magalong to really get to the bottom of this. That's how the President will get to the bottom of this. Hindi yung literally bottom na nagpadala siya ng mga divers doon. Hindi po yung bottom of this na kailangan natin. Ang kailangan natin bottom of this ay yung talagang root cause nitong kalakarang ito.
All right. Of course, people are asking as well. You raised several issues also during your press conference yesterday, along with others that you were with. The question here is, what is the end goal of PDP Laban? Dahil nga po sa mga statements po ninyo, especially here in flood control projects.
Ang end goal po namin is, ito po ay in consonance with our platform na ang priority po namin ay good governance, anti-corruption, at hindi po yan lip service sa PDP po. Kahit a third party, a private person, si engineer or architect June Palafox, sinabi po niya, during the Duterte administration, of course, we cannot really eliminate corruption 100%, pero nabawasan po talaga ng husto. Only for the same thing to be repeated under the present administration. Ang endgame po namin ay talagang, well, obviously, matanggal ang corruption sapagkat yung corruption po, iyan po ang talagang it keeps the Philippines down.
Yes.
Alam niyo po, napag-iwanan na tayo ng ating mga kapitbahay, so to speak, dito sa ASEAN. Can you imagine, ang Vietnam po, na kailan lamang 50 years ago lang yata, nagpapatayan sila. Ngayon may sa sarili ng car brand, yung VinFast.
That's right.
Tinitinda na rito sa Pilipinas. Lahat po na pag-iwanan na tayo, kawawa naman tayo, and the one single reason that keeps us down is corruption. Not only corruption, rampant and shameless corruption na normalized na po.
I'd like to ask you, Attorney, well, you mentioned it already, corruption. A lot of people have been saying, therefore, should the President be the one to investigate all of this, given that he himself, his family, in general, has been part of corruption allegations, and one case has been already ruled with finality from the Supreme Court?
Well, constitutionally, wala pong choice ang ating Pangulo. He is the chief executive. Sabi nga po nila, the buck stops here. But of course, he cannot pretend that he has the competence. Wag na nating pag-usapan yung karakter, sapagkat i-divorce natin yung kanyang personal sa pagiging chief executive niya. As chief executive, he has not only the power but the obligation, the duty to investigate this. Ngunit siyempre, ang training niya ay iba. That's why he has alter egos,
That's right.
Yung mga cabinet niya. Ngunit, yun nga po, tama po kayo, and not only does it appear that yung head ng DPWH ay may pananagutan somehow kahit command responsibility, ngunit mukhang involved not only family, hindi ko sinasabing totoo po ito
Yeah.
There are reports that family and close political allies are involved. So while he has the duty to conduct a parallel investigation, it would be better by far. It would be more credible. It would be more believable and more thorough kung mag-create siya by executive fiat, by executive order lamang po, kayang-kaya po niya. It is well within his powers to create a board of inquiry and vest that board of inquiry with such powers as possessed by the executive branch to conduct a thorough and honest to goodness and a credible investigation.
Well, Attorney, you also mentioned during your interviews yesterday regarding the district engineers of DPWH that you said medyo malalim-lalim din yung mga involvement dito sa mga alleged flood control projects na mga anomalous. Can you elaborate that as well?
Alam niyo po, ito nga, natatawa nga ako may isang ini-interview pong economist daw from UP na sinasabi niyang marami daw rumors na ganito, ganon, pero nasaan ang resibo? Akin po, paano ka kakaroon ng resibo? Clandestine nga ito sabrosa nga. Corruption nga ito Sinong unghang ba ang admit na sila ay corrupt? Ngunit, alam niyo po, since time out of mind na yata, alam naman po natin na yung district congressmen have a say kung sino magiging district engineer. Ang mga district congressmen, they have a say kung anong mga proyekto ang gusto nila. Although they're supposed to be legislators. So yun po ang sinasabi ko. Hindi po pwede yung contractor lang ang nandaya. Meron po yan before a project starts. Binibigyan niyan po ng technical specifications. Sasabihin ng DPWH, eto may project kami, flood control, eto ang haba, eto materials, eto ang aim para hindi mag-overflow, say. itong river na ito. Ito yung plano. Ipapakita nila sa mga contractors yung planong yan, magbibid. Then, i-approve yung bid. So, yung back has an integral role to play dito sa corruption na ito. Hindi ko sinasabing lahat ng back, ngunit ina-approve po nila yung contractor kung qualified, and then they award the project. Merong number of days yan. Tinitingnan nila po yung progress niyan. Yung kung 30%, 40%, 50%, minsan, ano po yan progress release yung kanilang pondo. Then pagtapos na yan, tinitingnan nila kung built according to the specifications ng DPWH. So, kung titignan nyo po yan, we cannot just focus on the contractors. We have to investigate yung DPWH, and then thereafter, ino-audit po yan kung tama. So, ang dami pong mga players dyan na dapat imbestigahan by the President, focusing on contractors, and even a few contractors, wala pong mangyayari dyan. Pakitang tao lang po yan. It's just a stage play for the consumption of the people to show na may ginagawa siya.
Well, medyo mahabang usapin pa to, attorney, but we hope to keep in touch with you especially Blue Ribbon is starting today. No? Well, we hope to keep in touch with you for more updates. But for the meantime, thank you, PDP Laban Deputy Spokesperson, Attorney Ferdinand
Thank you very
Topacio,
much
for joining us once again. All right, let's take a look at the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing right now.
Senators are now looking into alleged irregularities in flood control projects. Let's listen in.
4, 5, 6, 7 are represented here, either by the owner himself or by a representative, Your Honor.
So 7 out of 15 are represented today in this hearing, Mr. Director General.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the rest simply replied, but did not send representatives.
Yes, Your Honor.
I just hope this is not the sign of disinterest on their part, because this meeting is called precisely to get to the bottom of this problem.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, siguro pag when we invite them, not invite, subpoena them next hearing, they have to come up with a reasonable answer. Hindi ho yung may sakit, may nauna, para hong ginagago itong committee natin na may sakit, nagbakasyon na, may mga prior schedule. Ano mas importante, prior schedule, Mr. Chair? Or itong investigasyon ito, because 544 billion na pinag-uusapan natin, not a small change, Mr. Chair. Yun lang po.
Manifestation is noted. May I remind the representatives of private lawyers of our resource persons present here today, pwede po kayong relax muna kayo at huwag kayong aalis. I will now direct the Director General to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons and thereafter administer the oath to them.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I proceed? Those who have been invited here, kindly please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? Thank you. You may take your seats. Mr. Chair, for the record, they all said yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General. I acknowledge the presence of Senator Gatchalian and Senator Bongo. The President of the Philippines made initial observations and findings in regard to the subject matter of the present inquiry. The amount of some 100 billion pesos, or 18% of the entire 545 billion budget for flood control projects between July 2022 to May 2025 was awarded to only 15 out of 2,409 accredited contractors in the country. Question: is this statement of the President fair? Silence means acquiescence. So, Chairman notes that all present today agrees to the statement of the President. And the 15 contractors referred to were invited as early as last Saturday, Director General, Friday, and at least 7 of them replied and sent representatives this morning. Legacy Construction Corporation, Alpha and Omega General Contractor and Development Corporation, St. Timothy Construction Corporation, QM Builders, EGB Construction Corporation, Top-Notch Catalyst Builders, Inc., Centerways Construction and Development, Inc., SunWest, Inc., Highton Construction and Development Corporation, 888 Construction and Supply, Inc., Royal Crown Monarch Construction and Supplies Corporations, Wawo Builders, MG Samidan Construction, LRTK Builders, Inc., and Road Edge Trading and Development Services. These 15 contractors were mentioned by the President. The President also noted that 5 of these 15 contractors have projects in almost all regions nationwide. He mentioned Legacy Construction Corporation, Alpha and Omega General Contractors and Development Corporation, St. Timothy Construction Corporation, EGB Construction Corporation, and Road Edge Trading and Development Services. Is the President correct? Your silence is also acquiescence. So the President fairly reported this accurately. Wala pong problema so far? The President also noted that there appears a mismatch between the most flood-prone areas based on National Adaptation Plan of the Philippines 2023-2025.
Now that was this is the ongoing Senate Blue Ribbon Committee investigation on the anomalous flood control projects headed by its chairman, Senator Marcoleta.
So this is his first inquiry as chairman of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, one of the most powerful committees in the Senate. So they're tackling the flood control projects, and he is referring to the report of President Bongbong Marcos and asking yung mga guests nila if they agree with the report of PBBM or not, and silence though means they agree.
All right, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News.
Navotas City Representative Toby Chanco sparked debate over this year's budget as the House begins tackling 2026 general appropriations. Marian Enriquez has the report.
It was supposed to be a briefing, not a hearing, meaning the economic managers were simply supposed to present how they came up with the National Expenditure Plan. But things quickly got heated when Navotas City Representative Toby Chanco challenged new House Appropriations Chair Mika Sonsing to produce the small committee report from last year. The small committee, composed of House leaders, was allegedly where the insertions and reallocations in the 2025 budget were made. Sonsing tried to push back by saying she wasn't the appropriations chair at that time.
That's not acceptable. This is public records. Pareho pa naman yung COMSEC natin. At yan dapat linalagay sa archives. But if within 5 minutes wala yan, ibig sabihin wala yan, ngayon palang gagawa yan.
The small committee is subsumed within the Committee on Appropriations, and it is the Committee on Appropriations who's required to submit the committee report. In this case, the report and the output of the Committee on Appropriations is the HGAB.
No, it's not. The HGAB is different from a committee report. Just like any other bill, the bill is different from the committee report. There must be a committee report included to the bill. It is not one and the same.
Chanco wanted to see in particular who moved what in the House General Appropriations Bill, or HGAB. He also questioned why, while there's digital copies of the National Expenditure Program and the General Appropriations Act, there's no electronic copy of the HGAB. In the end, Chanco had to agree to wait for the copy to be provided by the committee secretary, provided that the so-called independent congressman like him be accorded representation in the subcommittee to be formed for the review of budget amendments. The Development Budget Coordination Committee were represented at the briefing by Budget Secretary Amina Pangandaman, Finance Secretary Ralph Recto, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, and Bangko Sentral Deputy Governor Zeno Abinoja. Recto said the previous administration left behind 12.8 trillion pesos in debt. This year, only 4.64 trillion of the 6.35 trillion peso national budget is actually supported by government revenues. He broke this down to 17.4 billion pesos in expenses, 12.72 billion pesos in financing by revenue collection, and 4.68 billion in loans on a daily basis. But Recto insists these aren't bad loans.
80% niyan, inuutang natin sa ating sarili, domestic. It is an asset of the Filipino people as well, yung 80% na yan, di ba? So binabayaran din natin yung ating sarili, and that's how we manage our debt.
But all of them agree it's becoming more challenging to manage the budget. Thus, the need to search for more revenue sources without imposing new taxes or debts. Among these is government-owned and controlled corporations' dividends, which the DOF increased to 75% from 50%. There was also talk of a tax on single-use plastics, which was a holdover from the CREATE Act.
So far, we are on track to meet our medium-term fiscal framework targets, with revenue collections growing by double-digit for the last 3 years at an average of 13.8% annually. Tax collections have also consistently expanded at an average of 11.5% annually.
For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Navota City Representative Toby Tiangco requested that the House Independent Bloc be given representation in the subcommittee on budget amendments. He emphasized that independents, like the majority and minority, deserve a voice in the budget process. Tiangco appealed for their active participation in the panel's deliberations.
Ang tanong ko lang is kung merong representation yung majority, yung minority, yung yung parties, bakit naman yung independent hindi na lang naisama para may boses kaming mga independents.
Meanwhile, Tiangco believes that replacing the small committee with a subcommittee on budget amendments will promote transparency. He also expressed optimism over the introduction of new budget reforms and safeguards.
Ang kaibahan ngayon, based on the commitment of Chairperson Swansing, is that yung report ng subcommittee on budget amendments na ipapasa siyempre sa mother committee, which is the Committee on Appropriations, will be shown to the members in plenary, and kung ano yung ma-approve on second reading, wala nang babaguhin.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on flood control projects is ongoing. For more details on that, we have mobile journalist Mermon Reyes live on the ground. Hi Mermon, can you give us update on what's happening right now?
Magandang umaga sa inyo. Ganap nang nagsimula ang unang pagdinig ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee ngayong 20th Congress, at kani-kanina lamang sa opening remarks si Senator Rodante Marcoleta, chairperson ng committee na ito, nilatag na niya yung mga layon na gawin nitong komite patungkol sa kanilang investigasyon dito sa flood control project sa bansa. Natukoy dito na nais silang i-determine yung accountability, hindi lang daw sa mga contractor, maging doon sa mga opisyal na posibleng nagkaroon ng pangungurakot, lalong-lalo na pagdating dito sa budget allocation. Nais din nilang sa katapusan ng pag-iimbestigasyon, makapagrekomenda ng legislative measure para mapagtibay para ang oversight mechanism ng pamahalaan, pati para maiwasan na ang kapalpakan nitong mga sinasabing proyekto. Nais nilang ma-establish yung facts surrounding daw doon sa mga kontrata na binibigay dito sa 15 na contractors. Nagkaroon pa nga ng kaunting pagkadismaya itong si Marcoleta kanila dahil nung nagkaroon ng roll call sa resource persons, doon sa 15 na contractor, 7 lang yung nag-respond. Either present sila ngayon yung kumpanya mismo o kaya naman ay magpapadala ng kanilang mga representative, either abogado nila o iba pa nga magiging representative. Nais din nilang i-examine kung ito ba ang mga proyekto, yung mga tapos na o itong mga pending ay in compliance sa government procurement processes. At nais din nilang maimbestigahan kung meron ngang irregularity sa proseso na ito, i-assess yung quality at effectiveness ng mga tapos ng flood control projects dito sa bansa at makapag-identify daw ng systemic witnesses na may alam o may kinalaman doon sa sinasabing government procurement process. Balik sa inyo.
Marymon, sa mga 7 contractors na pumunta, may balita ka ba if kasama dyan yung madalas na nababanggit kasi recently yung St. Timothy?
Actually, nakita natin dito sa listahan, hindi sila yung part ng mga confirmed na resource persons. Doon sa 15, ang nakita natin na present talaga ay EGB Construction Corporation, Centerways Construction and Development Incorporated, pati MG Samidan Constructions. Yung ilan, halimbawa, itong Legacy Construction Corporation, meron daw sila ipapadala na affidavit. Yung iba, ang Sunwest Incorporated, meron indicated excuse na yung representative yata na dadalo ngayon ay abroad. Samantala, yung iba, wala pa. Kaya ang nasa-suggest din kanina ni Senator Erwin Tulfo, baka raw pwedeng isagpina itong mga hindi dumalo ngayong araw at sinabi naman in-invite daw sila as early as the weekend, mga by Friday last week daw. So tingnan natin sa susunod na pagdinig kung dadalo ang mga ito.
Marymon, last na on my end, will we know if other key government officials will be present in that hearing today, such as yung mga nasa DPWH, especially yung mga nagre-raise ng issue tungkol sa mga district engineers, yung mga auditors, yung regional agencies? Go ahead.
Yes, Angela. Nandito ang Commission on Audit, si Chairman Attorney Gamaliel Cordoba, Department from the DBM, Secretary Amina Pangandanan, from the DPWH, Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Nandito rin ang nagmumula naman sa DNR, National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. DOST Pag-asa nandito, even si Attorney Romando Artes ng MMDA nandito din, plus ito ng mga contractor.
Alright, siguro yun na lang muna. For now, we'll get back to you on this. Maraming salamat sa iyo, mobile journalist Marymon Reyes. Now, still in the Senate, but in other news, Public Affairs Officer Nadia Montenegro has quit Senator Robin Padilla's office after being linked to an alleged marijuana incident in the Senate, a claim she has since denied. Here's the report.
In a 5-page written explanation dated August 15, Nadia Montenegro announced her immediate resignation as Political Affairs Officer of Senator Robin Padilla. She said this was for her mental health and the well-being of her children. Montenegro issued the explanation after being linked to an alleged marijuana incident inside the Senate. According to Montenegro, the accusations have brought her and her family severe pain and distress, destroying her reputation over a story she insists is false. Montenegro strongly denied being the staff member allegedly found inside the Senate restroom where marijuana was supposedly smelled. She clarified that her resignation was not an admission of guilt, but rather a sign of respect for the Senate and Senator Padilla's office to prevent the controversy from causing further damage. Senator Padilla has accepted Montenegro's resignation. He also concluded his office's internal probe into the issue, but vowed to cooperate should the Senate decide to pursue its investigation into the alleged smell of marijuana in the compound. Following the controversy over the supposed pot session in the Senate, Senator Mig Zubiri and his entire office underwent drug testing on Monday. A 5-panel drug test was conducted on Senator Zubiri and his staff, which covered shabu, marijuana, ecstasy, cocaine, and opium. He said that if any of his staff tests positive, they will be suspended and required to undergo rehabilitation before returning to work. Senator Raffy Tulfo and his staff are scheduled to undergo drug testing on Tuesday.
Sibak, no ifs, no buts, no exception. Kahit na sino pa yung pag nag-positive, tanggal. Bakit pa suspend the hub? Tanggalin na lang.
Senate Minority Leader Tito Soto earlier wrote to Senate President Chis Escudero, calling for the re-implementation of mandatory random drug testing in the chamber. Escudero confirmed the Senate is ready to comply. Meanwhile, Padilla has filed a measure requiring mandatory annual drug testing for government officials. If enacted, this will cover both elected and appointed officials, including those in government-owned and controlled corporations.
Well,
Ang question dyan is?
Nick, ang supposedly kasi oil, hindi, I don't know if it's the actual plant, pero kiniklaim possible yung cannabinoid oil na hinahalo sa vape. Ang question dito kasi is, meron sila mga, well, they have the drug sniffing and the bomb sniffing dogs who roam around. So,
paano na ipasok?
Hindi ko alam kung may capacity sila to smell yung oil ng vape, ng cannabinoids, or it's only marijuana itself. But eventually, paano nga nakapasok ito? You know how tight
Kung
naman...
totoo ang amoy marijuana yung sinasabi.
You know how tight security is sa Senate, di ba?
Yes.
So, I think this is going to be part of the investigation.
It should be.
Oo. Pero the way it sounds like, it's like oil from a vape... kasi meron marijuana oil, yung CBD oil tinatawag nila, yung hinahalo, tas you vape it. There's parang yun ang, parang yun ang, it's still illegal. I'm just saying, from the sound of it, parang yun daw ang ginagamit. But still, paano nakapasok
kasi
to?
ang initial investigation na sinasabi na naamoy doon sa ladies' room. At ang paglabas, it was Nadia Montenegro, allegedly. And this is not the first time. Meron din daw parang incident nung July.
At saka sabi ni Nadia daw, she is not the female na nahuli daw.
Nung July.
Sabi niya. So,
pero syempre, dahil nga dito sa nangyari ito, nagkaroon tuloy yung mga random drug testing, which is dapat naman talaga ginagawa, di ba? Para alam natin
and
na
she resigned,
drug-free environment yung government offices natin.
And she resigned a day before, supposedly, na may mandatory drug test for her.
Ay, talaga ba? Hindi
supposedly
ko alam.
Ganon. Supposedly.
Hindi ko ako sa kanya para mas ma-clear yung name niya, magpa-drug test na lang siya.
We're not pointing fingers naman. It's just that we want to clear this. Siyempre, one of the highest institutions of our land is the Philippine Senate.
Totoo.
Diba? Alright, former NBI Director Jaime Santiago strongly denies allegations that he kept a so-called bagman in his unit. He stepped down amid claims that an associate collected payola from Isabong and Pogo operators in exchange for protection. Santiago insists the accusations are part of a smear campaign by groups with vested interests in his position. In his resignation letter, he said he would not allow any orchestrated move to destroy the reputation he built through the years.
Pinagpipilitan si Paul Tangkad ay kolektor ko. Mga kasama, uulitin ko. Andiyan ang members ng media. Itingin ako sa inyo eye to eye. Tumayo ngayon ang inuobliga ko na magkaroon ako ng lingguhan, monthly. Tumayo ngayon, parang awa nyo na. Kung meron akong inuutusan sa inyo na magbigay sa akin ng pera, ay Diyos ko, lagi kong gaida sa inyo, gusto ko trabaho, trabaho, trabaho.
Business groups warn that corruption and weak accountability could erode investor confidence amid the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. This comes amid a joint statement from the Makati Business Club, the Management Association of the Philippines, and the Justice Reform Initiative and Integrity Initiative. They call for the Supreme Court to reconsider their decision on the impeachment of Duterte. MBC Executive Director Rafael Ongpin told Storycon that the issue goes beyond business interest. It is about the public's right to know how taxpayers' money is being used.
I want to emphasize that this is not just a concern for prospective foreign investors. This is a concern for big Filipino conglomerates and so on who need a rule of law, who need public accountability. Because right now, our businesses are being shaken down by various government agencies.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez praised the government's pilot rollout of a unified ID for persons with disabilities, saying it will curb fraud and ensure benefits reach legitimate beneficiaries. The pilot started in 35 areas, including San Miguel, Bulacan. Full implementation aims to cover 2 million PWDs nationwide. The LGUs will handle applications and verification, while the National Council on Disability Affairs manages ID printing. Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. Former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said that the recent altercation with other Duterte supporters in The Hague was due to personal differences, not humba. Here's the report.
Former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says he has no issue with eating humba, but clarified that it wasn't what sparked a recent altercation with other supporters of former President Rodrigo Duterte in The Hague, Netherlands. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, Roque recalled being invited to a birthday gathering for content creator Alvin and tourism.
Alam nyo naman, sa birthday, dyan sa Duterte Street, kanya-kanyang dalam ng pagkain. Hindi naman na naghanda yung birthday celebrant, kundi iba't ibang mga grupo, nakauwian na yan, talaga nagdadala ng pagkain dyan.
However, his presence there was supposedly not welcome by other supporters of Duterte, specifically those close to Alvin. He also clarified that a viral photo showing him eating was misleading, explaining that he had spaghetti on his plate, not humba.
Actually, yung picture, ang kinakain ko doon spaghetti. Kasi hindi siya humba man lang ang kinakain ko. Although aminado ko, kumain ako 3 maliit na piraso ng humba kasi nga ang nagluto noon yung aking mami Janet.
Roque insisted the conflict was not political, but rather rooted in personal differences.
I wouldn't call it politika. Kasi yung grupo ni Alvin at saka itong tao na kaibigan nga niya na nanumbat, ever since ayaw nila sa DDS. Ayaw nila sa Maisog. It's really between yung organized group na Maisog at saka DDS at saka yung grupo nila Alvin.
Marami daw humba dito. Uwi ka na lang. Uwi na lang daw siya. Maraming humba dito.
Gusto naman ni Spokes Harry na ng humba, pero yung kinakain daw niya ng spaghetti pala yung nasa plate. Yung nasa
picture. Walang evidence.
Hindi daw niya inubos yung humba ni Alvin.
Sabi naman nung iba, it's for everybody to share.
Kanina ba yung humba kay Alvin?
Oo,
sino ba yan?
Yung lalaking pinapakita na sinasabi ni...
Kaaway ni Spokes.
Oo. Hindi naman really kaaway, but sabi nga nila, dahil yung ayaw nila sa DDS daw. So, kaya may initial...
Ayaw nila sa DDS.
Parang na lang to nag-i-ignite na lang dun sa dati pang...
Ayaw nila DDS pero supporters sila ng Duterte.
I don't know. Pero
supporters daw Pero spaghetti nga daw yung nasa plate, sabi
yung
ni
kinakain niya.
Spock.
Pero inamin naman niya, kumain siya ng humba. Pero sabi nga niya, babayaran na lang niya, di ba? Magkano
gusto niya, may frozen humba sa grocery. Bumili na lang tayo dyan, microwave natin para matapos na yung usa. Uy, favorite din ni Mio yung humba, anak namin. Ay, galing ng mga
parang lumalalim na lumalalim mga pinaglalaban natin.
Baka magkaroon ng Blue Ribbon issue dito kay Senator Marcoleta. Sino ba talaga kumain ng humba? Diba? Inubos ba ni Spokes Roque ang humba?
Sige na.
Oo. Sabi nga, last time before we go, sabi nga nila baka si PBBM anomalous humba eating Magkaroon sila ng
humba project.
Humba project. Ako. Okay.
Alright, sige.
Starting September, students will get faster and cheaper train rides with new beep cards that automatically give fare discounts. Mobile journalist Evan Tarinque with the report.
Halos araw-araw na ikipagsapalaran ng mga estudyante sa kaliwat kanang pagsubok, sa loob man o sa labas ng paaralan. Kaya ang Transportation Department, planong suportahan ng ating mga mag-aaral sa pamamagitan ng bagong beep cards. Kung wala kang beep card, ganito ang madalas sa pila sa pagbili ng single journey ticket para makasakay ng tren sa MRT at LRT stations. Kung estudyante ka, may susulatan at pipirmahan pang form bago makuha ang 50% discount sa pamasahe. Pero ngayon, ay di na lang ang kailangan ipakita ayon sa Department of Transportation. Simula rin sa Setyembre, pwede nang makakuha ng puting beep card sa mga estudyante, senior citizens at persons with disability. Automatic na rito makakaltas ang discounted na pamasahe sa tren.
Right then and there, ipiprint ang iyong student beep card in every station sa MRT, 3 LRT1 and LRT2.
Mas madali na ang proseso. Ipapakita lang ang student ID at agad nang ipiprint ang card. Kailangan lang ito i-renew taon-taon. Malaking ginhawa ito, lalo na para sa mga estudyanteng araw-araw na ikipagsapalaran sa mahabang pila. Ayon pa sa ilang nakausap ko, may mga panahon sa sobrang tagal ng pila, mas pipiliin na lang nila magbayad ng regular fare.
Siguro kung yung last money ko na yon, siguro worth it siya. Pero kung nagmamadali ka na talaga, hindi na sa worth it. Talo kung terror yung super professor mo.
Bukod pa sa student beep cards, inaasahan din ang pagdating ng dagdag na beep cards ngayong linggo upang masolusyonan ang kakulangan.
Beep card will be completing a delivery of 300,000 additional beep cards across LRT1, LRT2, and MRT3. Yun kasi ang na-compute namin sa meeting namin, yun ang na-compute namin na shortage.
Isang malaking ginhawa para sa mga kabataan ng student beep cards. Mas mabilis, mas madali, mas praktikal, nakatipid pa. O Bagtsuray Bantaringi po hatid, ang mukha ng balita.
Yan, student beep card. So ano ba to? 1 year, no? Every year you renew kasi ang tinatanong ng iba, bakit may renewal pa? Yung iba, like PWDs, ano yan, long term. Kasi every year kasi may nag-graduate. So pag nag-graduate ka from being a student, hindi ka na student. So you have to apply. Madali lang naman daw mag-renew eh. So malaking discount to. So I hope most of the students can avail of that, di ba?
Kasi marami yung student na talagang sumasakay ng mga MRT, LRT. Diba?
Oo, and then to make it easier, kasi minsan pag wala kang beep card, ang haba daw ng pila eh.
Haba talaga.
Oo.
Bakit?
Ayun. Oy, before we let you go, I'd like to leave everyone in a quote, and I'm sure para masettle na tong issue ng sa humba. The quote goes, eat all your food equally so you finish everything at the same time. Kaya spaghetti, humba, adobo pa yan. Equal portions. That wraps up today.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Ngayon. Huwag na mag-away sa humba, ha? Madami dito sa Pilipinas. Dito niya nakunin. That wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
Milo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.